faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Club. Today we'll be exploring the book called Winning. The author is Jack Welch, former chairman of General Electric. GE's history traces back to the great American inventor Thomas Edison. It's one of the world's largest technology and service companies. Its businesses span aircraft engines, power generation, medical systems, plastics, and financial services management. AC academics widely regard GE's leaders as representing the pinnacle of Western management practices. Jack Welch became GE's youngest chairman in history. Under his leadership, GE's market value soared from $14 billion to over $400 billion, becoming the world's most valuable company. Welch earned the title World's Greatest CEO. After retiring in 2001, he held 150 global seminars where business leaders worldwide posed diverse questions. Welch categorized these into management philosophies and methods. The third aspect is personal career development. Essentially, Winning is Welch's comprehensive response to these questions. Remember three key things about this book. First, it's not motivational fluff, no empty inspiration. Second, it's not a textbook, not systematically academic. Third, it's not a manual, not a step-by-step guide. This book reveals Jack Welch's winning business philosophy. To win, apply its principles through persistent, hands-on practice. So how do you win? That's what fascinates Jack Welch most. Welch is a winning expert. If you want to win, join us in learning from this champion's playbook. Winning primarily answers three questions. First, what's the foundation of winning? Second, how can companies win? Third, how do individuals win in their careers? Let's explore each one. Starting with the first question, what's the foundation of winning? Welch identifies four core principles. The first is having a compelling mission and actionable values. This stems from asking, how can our business win? Without economic success, other social goals become empty promises, mere corporate ideals. It's achieved through specific goals one by one. During Welch's tenure, GE's mission was to become the world's most competitive company. To achieve this grand vision, GE set many goals. One of the most famous goals was that a business must be number one or number two in its market or be cut. Mission is the responsibility of corporate executives. It cannot be delegated. But mission isn't just for executives. It must be understood and accepted by the vast majority to generate power. How to do it? Welch's method was constant advocacy, penetrating the organization in various ways. Having a mission isn't enough. Values are essential. What are values? Welch's explanation is interesting. He said values are human actions. They're concrete, clear, and must be executed. Values are what the company stands for and opposes. They must be crystal clear. For example, accountants don't falsify accounts. Doctors don't accept red envelopes. Welch said values should be applied like military orders, similar to the three main rules of discipline and 8 points for attention of the 8th Root Army. Values are worthless if not put into action. Well, in summary, mission is the grand vision and values are the action guide. The two must not diverge. United, they have power. Welch's second principle is to maintain candor. Welch said that whether a company can achieve candor makes a huge difference. Lack of candor fundamentally stifles keen creativity, hinders quick action, and prevents talented people from contributing fully. With candor, a company is bound to succeed because it unites people, boosts efficiency, and saves costs. But why can't people be candid with each other? Because people seek benefits and avoid harm. Once this happens, the company falls into bureaucracy or formalism, which is terrifying. People stay silent. Every day in the office is filled with pretentious behavior. Both the company and individuals waste life and opportunities. Welch admitted that building a culture of candor is a long journey. At GE, it took him 10 years to gradually foster an atmosphere of candor. Although challenging, It's not as difficult as imagined, as long as you're willing to take risks and truly want to do it. Especially bosses should remember Welch's words. Candor has the power to simplify complexity and truly liberate oneself. Welch's third principle is fair and effective evaluation. Welch said that among the values he practices, the one with real driving force is discerning evaluation. The evaluation here refers to the differentiated evaluation he advocates. Simply put, the evaluation system divides employees into three categories for differentiated treatment. Top 20%. Top performers receive substantial rewards, including bonuses, stock options, praise, training, and so on. The middle 70% are given training, feedback, and categorized development to motivate initiative and work passion. The remaining 10% are eliminated. This differentiated evaluation system has had a huge impact, but also faced much criticism. So, some say the differentiated evaluation system is easily corrupted by office politics, forming cliques. Others argue that this system is harsh, arbitrary, encourages survival of the fittest, and other criticisms like it provokes conflicts and undermines team spirit. They say this system can only be implemented in the US and so on. However, Welch firmly believes that differentiated evaluation is not only the best way to improve corporate efficiency, but also the fairest and most humane method, ultimately allowing winners to emerge. Welch also admits that implementing the differentiated evaluation system requires certain methods and conditions, with two being most important. First, there must be a candid performance measurement system, including clear expectations, goals, timelines, and a stable, reliable evaluation process. Second, promote a performance culture where everyone is equal based on merit. Welch's fourth principle is to give everyone a voice and dignity. Voice means everyone has the opportunity to express their thoughts and ideas, to be heard, and to feel dignity. It's about people gaining respect for their work efforts and individuality. The book mentions two heart-wrenching examples. One Chinese woman tearfully told Welch that grassroots employees have many ideas but dare not hope to voice them unless they become the boss. Another employee said that the company has always paid for his hands. But in reality, the company could fully utilize my brain and it wouldn't cost anything. Why? Why can't employees speak their minds? The key lies in the boss's attitude. Usually in a company, there's only one big shot, the boss, and everyone else is a small fry. For example, what we often call the top leader holds both the pen and the power. It's completely one person's say, and others have no rights or dignity. GE also encountered similar issues. Welch's method was highly effective. For example, at work improvement meetings, he'd only appear beforehand to make two commitments. 75% of suggestions raised would get immediate yes or no decisions. The remaining 25% would receive responses within 30 days after the meeting. He'd leave right after speaking and only return just before the meeting concluded. All right, that concludes our discussion of the first question. We've covered Welch's four principles. Next, we'll address the second question. How can companies win to become great? Now, they need great DNA. As mentioned earlier, it requires embedding mission, candor, evaluation, and dignity. Only by implanting these key elements into the company culture from the start can there be continuous momentum to win. But principles alone aren't enough. Companies face daily competition. How exactly should they act to win? On this, Jack Welch offered concise, effective advice across multiple themes from internal and external perspectives, each theme being broad and complex. Here, we'll introduce Welch's most distinctive insights. First topic, everyone needs leadership. Welch famously said, "Before you become a leader, success is about growing yourself. After you become a leader, success is about growing others." This quote centers on two keywords, growth and responsibility. Most companies fail to endure because managers neglect their responsibility to foster employee growth. A common workplace sight, managers constantly ordering staff around, acting like VIPs while treating others as nobodies. Fundamentally, this reflects flawed leadership. To Welch, leadership is hard work. Exceptional leaders focus entirely on others, passionately caring for employee growth and success, radiating confidence and authenticity through candor, integrity, optimism, and kindness. Though Welch started leading just 3 people early in his career. As CEO, he led up to 30,000. His deepest lesson: leaders must balance all aspects, shoulder every responsibility, and withstand all pressures. He said, leadership isn't about receiving a crown, it's accepting the duty to unlock others' ultimate potential. Oh, why is leadership so crucial? The core reason is that organizational growth depends on human development. The higher a manager's position, the more they must prioritize responsibility for others' growth. That's the essence of leadership and the secret to lasting organizational vitality. Now, let's discuss the second theme: how to select and utilize talent. Since people are so vital, what kind of talent truly fits a company's needs? Welch famously defined talent with 5 keywords: energy, energize, edge, execute, and passion, known as 4E1P. This renowned GE talent standard 4E1P breaks down as follows. First E is energy, positive vitality, a drive for action, change, and achievement. Energetic folks are natural optimists, sociable, resilient survivors who thrive on challenges. Second E is energize, the ability to motivate, essentially empowering others. This naturally extends from the first E. These vibrant individuals radiate energy, inspiring hope, reigniting dreams, and fueling others' drive. They're also masters of their craft with a strong sense of mission toward others. Third E is edge, meaning decisive judgment. Edge literally refers to a sharp blade, symbolizing the ability to cut through complexity with swift decisions. In our ever-changing business world, managers must make decisions constantly. Jack Welch said, the worst managers at any level are the indecisive ones, because indecisiveness breeds team instability and ultimately becomes fatal. Fourth E is execute. Execution capability, meaning the power to deliver results. Big talkers might make great speakers, but true entrepreneurs deliver tangible action. Without concrete results and performance, everything is just empty talk. Welch articulated this profoundly. He said, execution is a unique skill, knowing how to act on decisions, push forward through obstacles, and achieve goals. This involves overcoming resistance, chaos, or unexpected disruptions. Executors know winning is the only outcome that matters. Finally, the crucial P is passion, a genuine, intense excitement for work, people, and life itself. Why is passion so crucial? Because passion is an instinct, an innate gift, and the root of growth motivation. These 5 criteria seem simple, but actually demand very high standards, because they're almost all tied to personality traits. In reality, talent that fits the 4E1P standard is extremely rare. The practical situation in companies is that employee performance varies widely. So how should we manage different types of personnel? Welch's method is categorization and grading. Welch divided employees into 4 categories: solid citizens, stars, borderline performers, and troublemakers. Based on performance, they're split into 3 levels: top 20%, stars; middle 70%, average employees; bottom 10%, underperformers, and treated differently by category and level. Specifically for the solid citizens group, the best principles are: first, set clear operating rules and deliver on promises. Second, improve continuously. Don't just negotiate when problems hit. Now, for the second category, star employees, success needs stars. Role models have immense power, but if they get too arrogant, the fallout is serious. When dealing with an out-of-control star employee, either get them back on track or replace them within 8 hours. As for borderline performers, folks who were once great but then crashed, either reintegrate them or it's game over. Lastly, troublemakers have strong results but break rules or cross lines. Give them a deadline to fix up or ditch them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It must be stressed. Companies must treat the core 70% of employees well. They're the backbone and key to vitality, while the bottom 10% must be cut decisively. Although the differentiated evaluation system faced skepticism when introduced, its impact is huge. The single place elimination system we know is basically a spin-off of differentiated evaluation. To prevent abuse of this system, Welch set strict conditions, relieve on a candid performance measurement framework with clear expectations, goals, timelines, and a stable evaluation process. Next up, we'll tackle the third theme, how to handle change and crisis. Change is business's eternal theme. Since it's unavoidable, the best approach is to actively embrace it. But change brings risks and can spark crises. So what should we do? Welch's approach turns change into an orderly process. He proposed 4 principles. First, change requires clear objectives and metrics. It always faces resistance unless people understand and embrace its direction. Your best weapon, ample reliable data, and thorough communication to gain support. Also, you must act boldly. Avoid empty preaching and slogans. Take powerful, tangible, swift action. Second, recruit and promote loyal followers and change adapters. Facing change, people divide. 10% change makers, 80% fence sitters, 10% opponents. Your first task, find the change makers. What do change makers look like? They're somewhat arrogant, hyper energetic, courageous folks craving change. Find and promote them. Also, build united fronts at all levels, secure broad support, prepare talent, resources, and buy-in. All are essential. Third, ruthlessly eliminate hardcore opponents. They won't budge. No matter what you do, they won't change, but easily form opposition. Root them out early. Fourth, leverage unexpected opportunities. Everyone seizes obvious chances, competitors, clients, talent, new tech, etc. But real opportunities are riskier, more astonishing, and unforeseeable. Managers should boldly exploit them. After assessment, e.g., financial crises become investment or buying opportunities, bankrupt firms become acquisition targets. To Welch, profit-seeking is valid unless illegal or unethical. Change has risks, but stagnation brings crisis. Crises explode suddenly, escalate rapidly, spiral out of control. A single crisis can doom a company. Actually, most botched crisis management stems from wishful thinking and complacency. In today's volatile business world, companies must always prepare. The best approach is prevention through 3 firewalls. First firewall, strict controls, mainly financial discipline and accounting systems backed by robust internal or external audits. Second firewall, sound internal processes, including rigorous hiring, candid evaluations, and comprehensive training to embed policies. The third firewall is a healthy corporate culture, manifested in attitudes and actions. That covers change and crisis. Next is our fourth theme, how to win in competition. It's everywhere. How to become an undefeated champion? In simplest terms, it boils down to 3 things. Choose the right path means strategic planning. Doing the right thing always matters more than doing things right. That's the essence of strategy's importance. To Welch, strategy isn't complicated. It's about choosing a direction and pursuing it relentlessly. You can explain it with just 5 slides. Slide 1 answers, what does today's competitive arena look like? Slide 2 answers, what's the recent competitive landscape? Slide 3 answers, what's your current situation? Slide 4 answers, what potential variables exist? Slide 5 answers, what's your winning move? These 5 slides interconnect and can be summarized as 3 maps. Slide 1 is the blueprint. Slides 2 and 3 form the battle map. must be cross-referenced with slide 4 to anticipate worst cases. Slide 5 is the action roadmap. With strategy defined, executing these maps requires 2 steps. First, align talent with strategy and roles, especially key positions and high performers. Their thinking and execution styles vary greatly. Proceed cautiously. Second, action requires learning and growth fast. Thus, benchmarking is best. Learn best practices from top companies, teams, and individuals. From products to services, processes to organization, management to innovation, hiring to training, a company's sole strategic purpose is sustained proof. Strategy-driven growth has 2 paths. Organic growth, creating new from old, like a tree sprouting branches until 90. The other is growth through M&A, high risk, high challenge, aiming to pioneer but often becoming martyrs. Yet once successful, it achieves breakthrough transformation. So how to boost new ventures' success rate? Welch proposed 3 principles. First, select the right people, especially garage entrepreneur types. Put your most capable, driven, energetic talent in leadership roles. Second, amplify promotion. Leaders should loudly promote the new venture's potential internally and externally to attract attention, boost confidence, and gain tangible support. Third, allow freedom. New ventures need room to experiment and make mistakes. That's normal. Leaders just need to balance support, oversight, and constraints. If the leader isn't cutting it, replace them. If the project is just burning cash, shut it down early. Beyond internal R&D, mergers and acquisitions, M&A, are another strategic growth path, especially in fierce markets. M&A surges because it lets companies eliminate competition while rapidly scaling up. But M&A isn't dating, it's marriage. Once the honeymoon ends, conflicts erupt. So what to do? Successful M&A, like successful marriages, requires active nurturing. Here, Jack Welch is the expert. He offers invaluable advice. Simply put, 4 key points. First, M&A must unify into one family, achieving 3 unities: 1 leader, 1 governance system, 1 shared goal. Second, dual focus. 1 hand on strategic integration, the other on cultural fusion. Products, clients, tech are easy. Cultural alignment is hardest but defines true integration. Third, move fast. Complete integration within 90 days if possible. The sooner chaos ends, the better. Fourth, stay grounded. Most M&A failures stem from the attitudes of both sides. Either greed for money leads to overpaying, or lust for power triggers resistance through forced appointments. Business is a money game. Getting the numbers right is crucial. Budgeting is the system for allocating, distributing, and tracking funds. Yet corporate budgeting is often fraught with conflict, which Welch called negotiated settlements and grin and bear it approaches. What's a negotiated settlement? It's directly tying performance to budgets, causing misalignment between company and department goals. Departments want low targets and big budgets. Leadership wants the opposite. They negotiate performance, quotas, and bonuses, ending in weak compromises. The grin and bear it scenario. Business units pitch bold ideas hoping for executive backing but get hollow support. But executives have already allocated the total budget globally, leaving department ideas unaddressed, also causing conflict. Welch believed both approaches are deeply flawed. They don't budget based on real value growth. Innovative, solution-oriented, linking budgets to growth, focusing on 2 questions. First, how to outperform last year's results. Second, what are competitors doing? How to defeat them. In other words, introduce comparative perspectives during budgeting. Is this better than last year? Better than competitors? This redirects business units' focus to strategic goals. Rewards work the same way. Individual or department rewards shouldn't just depend on actual versus budgeted performance. Compare actual results to historical performance and industry peers to determine bonuses. This budgeting method is great in theory, but tough to implement. It requires a responsible culture and fair standards. Otherwise, conflicts worsen. That concludes our second question. Corporate winning is immensely complex. Jack Welch devoted much space, yet could only cover essentials concisely. Now, the final question, how do individuals win? For career growth, Welch discussed four themes: job hunting, promotion, boss relationships, and work-life balance. First, job hunting. All careers start here. How to choose. Welch's first rule: love the people and the work that's your reason to stay. Second, growth opportunities. Can you learn? Is there room to advance? These matter deeply. Third, compensation. Good pay reflects your value and improves your life. These same principles help decide when to quit a job. Once you're in a company, promotion becomes the next challenge. Whether you plan it or the company does, your performance is the ultimate decider. In fair, healthy companies, promotion rules are simple. Exceed expectations, take on tougher tasks, and build a team that backs you. Do these, and promotion follows. But what if you're unlucky and get a terrible boss? Welch's approach is super effective. Split into 3 steps. Figure out if it's the boss's issue or your own, and see if there's a way to fix it. If it's a boss with killer performance, think, is it worth putting up with? If you can't stand it, bail early. But whatever happens, don't play the victim. Finally, how to balance work and life. Folks with big career ambitions always struggle to juggle both. Jack Welch's advice is spot on. Don't use life choices as bargaining chips with your boss, because the boss thinks differently. Their top priority is competitiveness. Only if your work rocks and boosts profits will they give a hoot about your life. From Welch's experience, top leaders ace both career and life. They stick to 3 principles. First, whatever game you're in, go all in. Second, they're masters at planning and just say no to stuff outside the plan. Third, they love their career and life fiercely. All right, that wraps up the key takeaways from winning for you. This book skips fancy jargon and flashy ideas. It's all real talk, honest and useful biz insights. Remember, plain speak ain't uncultured, and big truths ain't worthless. Jack Welch is a global biz legend. Never underestimate his smarts and know-how. If you do, it'll be your biggest loss. Running complex is easy. Keeping it simple is tough. The book covers every angle of business ops. Rules, must-dos, and tips for each topic are foolproof. This gold standard wisdom, don't just hear and forget. Put it into action, stay persistent, and you'll get Welch's why for writing this. Just books for those who love biz life and want to nail it. For folks who wake up hungry to win at work and life. Okay, that's it for winning. Notes are below the audio. Catch you tomorrow.